I'm doing everything to lose weight, but it's not working. My weight's not changing. I'm not losing body fat. My clothes aren't feeling looser. So have you ever been in that situation before? And this is a reminder of what the science says, what the research says around calorie counting, using our watches and what they're saying about how many calories we burn and all of these things to do with our heart rate and all of this as well. Now, this is where almost tracking too many variables can be an issue, but almost tracking not can be an issue. Anyway, if you are coming in, give me a hello. If you're on replay, drop a in. Hope you're keeping cool, drinking plenty of water. So what does the research say on this? Like, should you use a Fitbit and all of these things and iWatches? There's loads of different watches now. So first off, if right, let's look at the research first. So what the one study showed was that when people were saying they were told to track 1,200 calories a day, and they had a look at how much they kind of roughly actually ate. So they were basically saying, I eat 1,200 calories a day. And they had a look, and people were actually eating around, on average, like in some cases as well, 50% more. So they were underestimating by 50%. And this was for many reasons, like weekends, off chance stuff, snacks, alcohol, 4 to 5 drinks on the odd occasion can be 1,000 calories in some cases. We know there's 7 calories in a gram of alcohol, which is often forgotten, not to mention the mixers and everything we have it with, not to be the bearer of bad news, but this has to kind of fit in if we're to go with this equation. Okay, so you've got these things coming up. Then you've got the BLTs, not the bacon, lettuce, tomatoes, but the bikes, the licks, and the tastes, which are often in that underestimated figure. For example, if I eat peanut butter, I know that I'm going to eat more than the tablespoon. Just by default, my tablespoon will be slightly bigger. I might lick the spoon until there's no spoon left. Like, I love peanut butter. Hey, Laura. Hey, Annette. Hey, Sue. And all of these things come into it. We have those certain foods. I know that if I eat certain sweeter foods, I tend to get hungrier and I'll probably just eat a bit more than I had planned. And all of these things, like, they start to add up. So that's the first thing. And we often innocently just sometimes forget as well. And it's just human nature. And then when we're not tracking this in our app, we can get even more frustrated because the app says, you should lose 2 pounds this week. And we know that the scales in themselves are not totally going to be to the letter with that anyway, because of heat, for example, the weather, how much water we drink, how much fiber we have, time of the month, all of these things, stress, our sleep, all of these things. You then throw in the stress and cortisol levels that can come from just living life and balancing home life, work life, and maybe we're lacking sleep, and maybe we perceive foods as more rewarding than they are. Then our food environment, such as the availability of cheap, delicious foods, which are overriding our hunger from our fat, carbohydrate, sugar senses, which reward our brain. And we then beat ourselves up for going, why can't I stop at 4 biscuits? Well, because they're designed to make you hungry. And if unless we take a step back and go, was the 4th as good as the 1st? Was the 3rd biscuit as good as the 1st? The answer is probably not, but when we're in that moment, that taste, it's kind of addictive because it gives our brain that little dopamine hit. It feels good in our mouth, and that's normal. That's what they want us to feel. But sometimes we have to take a step back and just say, I'm going to eat these biscuits. I'm going to enjoy this amount of biscuits, but at the same time, I want to be happily satisfied. And I know I'm never going to be satisfied with it really, but I'm going to have enough. I'm going to have enough. And there's a difference here between being kind of full up and having enough, being happily satisfied compared to being full up. And there's a big difference there. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Teresa. And all of these things we want to think mindfully on when we're in these situations, because these can lead to that kind of overconsumption of foods. And that's where that processed food is coming in with that. But on the flip side of this, these watches and everything, as great as they are, they can sometimes, we can sometimes as well overestimate how many calories we think we burnt from exercise. We have a tough session, it's a bit hotter than normal, and we can kind of feel like, I've exercised, so I get to eat these. And likewise with watches, sometimes saying you burn X amounts, you get these amount of calories, and again, this equation, there's no need to really track energy expenditure and trying to kind of bring in and balance that with calories eaten, because it's never going to be that simple. For example, your body's cleverer than that. Like, if you exercise more, your body will compensate through many mechanisms. Perhaps you'll fidget less, and we don't account for this. Your watch doesn't say, by the way, Matt, you fidgeted less today. Like your heat, your body temperature might drop slightly. All of these things happen, which might offset the odd few hundred calories. And we've busted a gut in our session, training or whatever, really worked hard, which is great, by the way. Longevity, bone density, health, muscle, tone, risk of diabetes, risk of cardiovascular disease risk, independence as we age. These are all brilliant things. Exercise benefits are way more than just weight loss calorie. That's like the minimal thing that it does. It's like a drug that does everything else, really, when you really look at it. But saying that, when we're starting to overcompensate now and go, I burnt 200 calories, I get 200 calories, it's not as simple as that. So we've got both of these things coming on, and we could now be out by 50%, so 600 calories more, eating more than we thought, plus we're burning maybe 200 calories when we thought we were burning 400 calories, and we're overcompensating in these two ways, which obviously can have a big role and leave us feeling frustrated when a watch is saying you should be eating this, and that can lead us to you should be losing this, and that could lead us to then going feeling frustrated, feeling like something's wrong with us, and then unfortunately we go down the route of thinking that there must be something really wrong. But the truth is, and this is the boring truth, if I'm honest, but I'm sharing this because a lot of other people won't, and I've been offered in the past loads of opportunities to kind of, you get it on Instagram all the time, like sell this supplement. But I know it will do no good at all. The only supplements I'd really recommend are things like fish oil, omega-3 if you're not having enough oily fish, vitamin D if you're not going out in the sun or in sun cream a lot. Likewise, things like protein shakes, creatine can come in handy, maybe magnesium, but all these fat loss supplements, which promise everything, are too good to be true. And then, we go into like allergies, maybe it's this why you're not losing weight. And in most cases, an allergy or an intolerance would actually force you to lose more weight. That's the interesting part of it, because your digestion system's off. I remember how many calories I was eating when I was eating gluten. Little did I know I had celiac. Yes, I was feeling more tired than normal because I wasn't absorbing iron so much, but I was eating like a ton of calories. And of course, I was spending a ton of time on the loo. Too much information. If I put you off your lunch, I do apologize. But you might now eat 50% less. Who knows? But, like all of these things, I was actually consuming loads, but not absorbing the nutrition. And actually the more common result from an allergy and intolerance is actually weight loss. Now, saying that, there's something that we can't underestimate, which is the power of accountability and support with this. And actually the knowledge, like I've shared with you today, that I hope kind of helps you just be a bit more aware of these things that come into it, and actually just honesty with ourselves, and knowing that, there will be times when it is really hard. But at the same time, let's look at what the research shows. Let's look at what these watches do. They provide us with a good framework, but they're not absolute amounts. And, to think that we sometimes can be put off from exercising, thinking that it's all a waste of time with our good habits, like getting more protein in our diet to make sure we're fuller for longer, make sure that we're recovering, putting on muscle, helping our blood sugar level control, stopping our snacking over time. These are changing lifelong habits in some cases, which is super powerful. To think that because the number didn't align with maybe what a watch said, we'll think, that's pointless, it's not worth it, is really sad, actually, because we're missing out on so many benefits that we could be getting here. And sometimes it's just that we don't have to be as perfect as we think we have to be, of course. Like, we sometimes just have to match our expectations with reality. I want to still, me personally, being camping this weekend, I want to be able to eat what I want in the evening. If there's a random food van there that's going to sell food that is a bit random and different, I want to be able to go, I'm going to try that, and that's okay. I'm not big on drinking, so I'm happy to forgive that. An alcohol-free beer, all good. That's just my thing, but I'm not willing to make X, Y, Z sacrifice to do that. But will that prolong my body shape? Will it allow me to have a six-pack year round? No. Like a full-on six-pack? No. But if I want to turn that on, I know I can. I know I have to make sacrifices, but it's being in that, making that decision, going, I don't have to be always losing weight. I don't have to be, or I'm just off it. You can just be okay for this period of time. And actually, that's where you see people get great results, because they're maintaining for periods of time. Then they go again, maintaining, rather than going, oh my God, I didn't lose 2 pounds this week, despite losing a stone in the last year or whatever. And then being like, it's not working anymore. We sometimes just need to be more consistent than we'd ever have imagined. Anyway, I hope that helps. I could ramble on all day because it's cool in here. Stay cool. Drink plenty of water today. Plenty. And know that sunburn can actually potentially make you put on a pound or so because of the inflammation. Your body's fighting inflammation. Who knows? So don't take everything, your self-worth on that number on the scale. Stay consistent. Do the basics right over time, and you actually just can't lose. It will be hard. It will be hard sometimes. I'm here to tell you that as well. But ultimately, it's going to be hard anyway. That's why we want to change. Hope that helps. Have an awesome weekend.